Hello, viewers, and welcome back to another episode of An Old Man with a Smartphone. In this episode, I'm going to show off my portable radio equipment, its off-grid capability, and talk about what I have and why I've gotten it. So this kit, what I had in mind for this is not just for camping or soda, but for any emergency use as well. In an emergency use, usually you don't have much for power, so this has to be self-powered. Likewise, when you're sitting in the park or sitting at the beach, you're not plugging into a wall either. So what we have here are these batteries, the TCB worth battery. I was using a different battery. I was using 20 amp hour LiPo4 batteries, but both of them died on me at exactly the same time. And I switched to these. These batteries I can vouch for. They've been very good. When it says low self-discharge, it is not lying. I had these wired together sitting on my table for about 4 months with no real use. And when I came out and plugged them into solar, they absorbed power for around 10 minutes and then they were back to full. So definitely low self-discharge. I found plenty of power. I've got 2 of these batteries wired in series, so I've got 60 amp hours at 12.8 volts. And I feed that using this charge controller. This is the EP-Ever. This one's a 20 amp hour charge controller. I have a 40 amp hour if I need it. And as you can tell by battery, it's barely trickling the power in because these batteries are absolutely full. On the back side of this, I've got support for 2 solar panels already pre-wired in. One is currently in use. And that's this eco-worthy 120 watt folding solar panel. This has been a great folding solar panel. They're very durable, and they do put out a good amperage. Usually I'll get around 4 to 5 amps out of this, no problem. And putting it through the charge controller, try and get in here so you can see the numbers, and we'll go to the voltage that it's putting out. So it has up to 21 volts and it'll do about 5.8 amps at 21 volts. So by the time I get all of that thrown into the battery, I'm actually getting closer to 7.5 amps, which is really nice. So here is my regenerative power. And the reason I've got such a large battery is because I like to be diverse. You might be at the beach and want to use your cooler. You might be on a long disaster or a long emergency communication response and require, your own power supply. Moving along from what powers this is the ICOM IC705 radio. This is very new to me. I've been playing with it for a while, putting a little bit into it. Part of the decision-making skills that I had to use in selecting my radio, it was a toss-up between this one and another radio from a competitor. The other radio was about the same size and form factor. It did not have 2 meter and 70 centimeter as this one does, and it does not do D-Star like this one does, but it did have a built-in tuner, and this one does not. So I happened across this matte tuner, and this is made by a company in China. This tuner is made specifically to run with the 705 radio. I did show it in a previous video, but I did not have the proper cabling to hook it up. Clearly, I've solved that issue today. Now I've got a couple of different ways I can hook this up. It has been a great tuner so far. It does tune pretty quick. I've been quite successful with it, even though the antennas that I use for this radio here at my house are the antennas I use for these bands at my house are quite resonant, so I don't really need a tuner. This tuner is more or less, I bought it for when I go in the field and different antennas that I will be using in the field. I'll do a later video on a variety of the different antennas. I believe I do have a video out on a bunch of different antennas. I just don't recall offhand what I'd named the video. But so we have the IC705 radio being powered by the solar batteries. So this system, it will just run. If I've got terrible sunlight, it's never going to be a problem. I'll always get more than I need to run this radio. This radio also has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity, which is great because the next part we have in the system is the CF31 Toughbook. This is the Black Cobra model. It's a Windows 11 machine, which has been absolutely wonderful for me because Windows 11 seems to work intuitively for idiots, and I am not a computer guy. I have not yet put all of the digital operating modes and such into this computer, although I will be at some stage. I've only very recently acquired this computer, and like everything, it's dual use. It'll be used as an office computer that will have to be mobile in a big truck, which is why I went with a Toughbook. I wanted something you could use to beat the balls off a grizzly bear and not lose your data. So we have this now. It couples very beautifully to the phone, and you can pretty much operate all the features on the phone and access all of its memories using the computer. That's been an absolute blessing. Out of all the computers I've used so far, this is the one I like the most, and I'm not really a computer guy. Now, the last piece of the equation, aside from the antenna package, which currently the antenna I'm using on this is my home base 30-foot tall inverted V. You can see the bellin hanging off my tower right there. And then above that is my 2 meter 70 centimeter at 30 feet. And the leads on that bellin, it's a fan dipole and a 1-to-1 bellin. The leads are cut for 20 and 40 meters. Aside from the antennas, the very last thing I like to bring is body armor for my beer can. You can never keep your beer too safe. Now let that be a lesson to all of you. You need to have some tactical body armor on your beer can, or you're just not serious. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment below. Thank you and have a great day.